Welcome to Witches in Yoga Pants, your cozy corner of the cosmos where modern magic meets everyday life. We're here to explore magic, mindfulness, and personal growth with a grounded, no-fluff vibe. Whether you're into moon rituals, tarot spreads, or just trying to survive Mercury retrograde, you are in the right place. So get ready to disrupt some old patterns, explore what it means to reclaim your power, and remember who you really are. So pull up your yoga mat, light a candle, and let's get into it. Hello and welcome back. I'm really glad you're here. Today, we're talking about Beltane, which is celebrated on May 1st, so we've just crossed that threshold. It sits right at the midpoint between spring equinox and summer solstice, and there's something about this particular point in the season that feels very different from the earlier part of spring, where the equinox carries that sense of waking up, of gentle beginnings and new possibilities. Beltane feels like a shift into something much more active. It's no longer about potential. It's about movement, about energy that has gathered enough momentum that you can actually feel it moving through your body, through your environment, and through your life. This is the time of year when things are visibly alive. You can see it in the growth around you, but more importantly, you can feel it internally. There's often a natural increase in energy, in desire, in creativity, and the urge to engage more fully with life. And historically, this is why Beltane has been so closely associated with fire. Not just in the literal sense, although bonfires were a huge part of traditional celebrations, but symbolically as well. Fire represents life force, transformation, passion, and that spark that moves something from an idea into an action. When people would gather around Beltane fires, there was a sense of participation in that energy. Sometimes people would walk between two fires as a form of cleansing or blessing. And while we might not be doing that exact same ritual today, the energetic invitation is still very much the same. This is a threshold moment, a point where you are being invited to move from simply thinking about what you want into actually engaging with it. And this is where things can get interesting, because when that life force energy rises, it doesn't just bring clarity and inspiration. It also brings awareness to places where energy's not moving. You might start to notice where you've been hesitating, where you've been holding back, or where something has been sitting just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to come forward. Beltane doesn't create those things, it amplifies them. It adds heat, and heat has a way of revealing what's already there. So for some people, this can feel exciting and expansive. There can be a sense of momentum, of ideas starting to click into place, of feeling ready to move forward in a way that maybe wasn't available earlier in the year. But for others, this can feel a little bit uncomfortable because that same energy will also highlight any misalignment. It will make it harder to ignore what isn't working, what feels stagnant, and what no longer has life behind it. And this is where I think Beltane asks for honesty more than anything else. And this is not in a harsh, critical way, but a grounded, present way. What actually feels alive for you right now? Not what you think should feel exciting, not what used to feel aligned, but what in this moment has energy behind it. Because your body knows the difference. There's a very distinct feeling between something that is draining and something that is asking to grow, even if that growth feels a little uncomfortable. There is also a strong theme of fertility during this time. And again, that doesn't have to be taken literally. This is about what you are growing in your life. The ideas, the relationships, the habits, the patterns, the ways of being that you are giving your attention and your energy to. By the time we reach Beltane, the seeds that we planted earlier in the year, they're no longer just concepts. They're beginning to take form. And this is the point where your engagement with them starts to matter in a different way. What you focus on now, it has momentum behind it. What you continue to invest in will grow more quickly. And that can be incredibly supportive if you're aligned with what you're building. But it can also be clarifying if you're not, because it becomes much more obvious where your energy is going and what it is creating in return. Another important layer of Beltane is connection. And this shows up in a few different ways. There's connection with others, which can feel natural and more desired during this time. There's also connection with your body, which becomes really important as your energy increases. There's also a connection with pleasure, which I think is something that often gets overlooked or misunderstood. Pleasure doesn't have to be big or dramatic, and it doesn't have to be something that you earn or work toward. It can be incredibly simple and still be incredibly meaningful. the warmth of the sun, being outside, moving your body in a way that feels good, laughing, creating something just because you enjoy it. These are all ways of connecting with life force energy, and when you allow yourself to actually feel them, rather than rushing past them, you begin to strengthen that connection. And that connection matters because it is what helps you stay grounded as your energy builds. Without it, it's very easy to move into overthinking, into trying to control or direct everything, or into feeling overwhelmed by the intensity of what's coming up. But when you stay connected to your body, to your senses, to your present experience, it becomes much easier to move with the energy rather than against it. Expression is another piece that often becomes more noticeable around Beltane. There can be a natural desire to share more, to be seen, to bring ideas out into the world in some way. And just like everything else we've talked about, this can feel both exciting and vulnerable at the same time. If something is asking to be expressed, it doesn't mean you have to do it all at once or in a big way, but it does mean that there's energy there. And even a small step towards that expression can begin to create movement. What I've noticed about this time of year is that it doesn't respond particularly well to force, but it does respond to participation. When you engage with the energy, with what is already present, even in a small way, it tends to open more naturally. When you ignore it or try to push it away, it often becomes louder and more persistent because that energy is looking for somewhere to go. So rather than trying to figure everything out or make a plan for the entire season, it can be much more helpful to stay close to what is in front of you right now. What is asking for your attention today? What feels like it has a little bit of life behind it? And what would it look like to meet that, even in a small way? Beltane is often described as a threshold, and I think that's a really accurate way to understand it. It's a crossing point between what has been building and what is about to fully come into form as we move towards summer. And like any threshold, it doesn't require perfection or certainty, but it does ask for presence. It asks you to notice where you are and acknowledge what is already in motion and to decide, even in a small way, how you want to engage with it. Because life is already moving. The question isn't whether anything is happening. The question is, how are you relating to what is happening? Whether you're participating in it or whether you're standing just outside of it watching it unfold. And again, participation doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be as simple as giving your attention to something that matters to you, saying yes to something that feels aligned, allowing yourself to feel something fully instead of immediately trying to move past it, letting yourself follow a small thread of curiosity or interest and seeing where it leads. These small points of engagement are what build momentum over time. They're what carry you from this point in the season into the fullness of summer. So, as we move through Beltane, you might start by just noticing what feels alive. You don't have to analyze it. You don't have to overthink it. Just notice it. And if it feels right, take a step towards it. Let that be enough for now. Until next time, trust what is asking to grow within you, stay connected to what feels genuinely alive, and allow yourself to move with the energy that is already unfolding. Take what you've heard today even further by joining my newsletter community. Each week, you'll receive journal prompts and reflections connected to the episode that are designed to guide you in bringing these conversations off the podcast and into your own journey. Let's keep going deeper together. The link is waiting for you below.